Hey everyone, this is Kaylin. Thanks for joining in for this focus flow where we're going to be really working on opening up through our hips and through our shoulders and our upper back, areas that when we spend a lot of time seated tend to take the brunt of that tension. So for all of these different postures, I'm going to give multiple variations and modifications. Ultimately, you do what works for you and your body. This whole process of yoga is like a choose your own adventure. I'm going to be cueing the use of blocks or various props. So depending on where you are, you might not have blocks. So if you have something like a throw pillow like this, or if you have books, or if you have a bunch of blankets that you can fold up, really anything to help bring the ground closer to you to make the postures more accessible. This practice is all about you and doing what works. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started in a child's pose. So child's pose, bringing your knees wide, your big toes together to touch, lowering your glutes down towards your heels, arms reaching out long. Just settling in here. On each inhale, noticing your ribs expanding out towards your legs. And on your exhale, maybe releasing any tension. Really just orienting yourself to this mat, leaving everything in the past where it belongs. And really work on being present. Using your breath as your anchor. Maybe from here, you begin to walk your hands over to the right, stacking your left palm on top of your right, opening up through the left side. Breathing deeply. And on an inhale, coming back through center and then changing sides. So walking your hands over to the left. Your right palm comes on top of your left, getting that right side body stretch. Breathing deeply here. And inhale, coming back through center. And then slowly walking your hands back towards your body, bringing your knees together. So you might be seated up on your heels. You might open your legs wider and bring your glutes down to the mat. This is also where having a block or a pillow can come into place. You can sit up on this if it's feeling too far away or if it's too much on your quads right now. So wherever you are, just start by taking a few shoulder rolls. So on your inhale, bringing those shoulders up towards your ears, and exhale, lowering them down. Inhale up, and exhale, lower. One more time, inhale up, and exhale, lower. From here, planting your right fingertips down toward the ground. Inhale, left arm up overhead, reaching long over to the right side. Your gaze might be up toward the ceiling or you might have it down toward the ground. And then inhale, coming back up, palms touch overhead. Exhale, lowering the left hand down, right fingertips extend long. One more time on each side. Inhale, palms touch overhead. Exhale, reaching long through those left fingertips to the right side. And then inhale, overhead. And exhale, reaching long toward the left with the right fingers. Inhale, coming back up. Palms touch and exhale, lowering them down through the center. Coming up off of that block, moving it up to the side of your mat, coming into a tabletop here. So from this tabletop, moving through a couple of rounds of cat-cow here. So on an inhale, dropping your belly, reaching your chin up toward the ceiling. Exhale, pressing the ground away, arching through that back, chin to chest. Inhale, dropping the belly, gaze moves up. arching the back, pressing the ground away, chin to chest. And one more time, belly drops, chin and gaze up. And exhale, arching that back, pressing down to the ground, chin to chest. Then inhale, coming back neutral. Meeting here in this tabletop here, spine is straight and long, gaze is forward. Pressing down to that right palm on an inhale, lifting the left arm up toward the sky. And exhale, hovering that arm under and weaving it through. On an inhale, coming back up, fingertips toward the sky. And exhale, weaving that arm and hovering above the mat. And then inhale, fingertips up. And exhale, weaving through, and then this time planting that left shoulder toward the ground. You might extend your right arm out long. You might find a bind here by wrapping that right arm around your left leg or onto your low back. Breathing deeply here. Just allowing your body to soak into the mat. On your next inhale, drawing that right hand back under your shoulder. Inhale, picking that left hand up, left fingertips up toward the ceiling. Exhale, lower the left palm to the ground. Going to the opposite side now. On an inhale, lifting those right fingertips up toward the ceiling. Exhale, weaving that arm under and hovering your arm over the mat. Inhale, right fingertips up. And exhale, weaving through and hovering. And last time, inhale, right fingertips up. And exhale, weaving that right arm through, this time planting that right shoulder onto the mat, extending that left arm out long. Again, you might keep it long. You might find a half bind with your left hand on your low back, or maybe even reaching around to your right thigh. Taking a few rounds of breath here. Allowing any present tension to just release. On your next inhale, drawing that left hand back under your shoulder, pressing yourself up. Inhale, right fingertips up toward the ceiling, and exhale, lowering down. Tucking your toes under, coming into a hovering table, picking those knees off of the mat, about an inch or so, and holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stepping right leg out long, left leg out long to plank, and then piking your hips up to find your first downward dog. Taking a moment here to pedal out your feet, opening up through those hamstrings. Maybe move your toes to the right, your heels to the left. Just move in whatever way feels good or calls to you right now. And then finding stillness when you're ready. Begin to take small steps, your feet to meet your hands at the top of your mat. Meeting here in this forward fold. Now here you might bring your blocks to bring the ground closer to you. You can have as much of a bend in your knees as you would like. Just allow the crown of your head to move down toward the ground here. We hold our heads up all day. Just allow gravity to take hold. You might grab for opposite elbows here. Rock from side to side. Releasing that low back. Releasing that bind, and inhale, slowly root to rise. Coming all the way up, your head is the last thing. Taking a couple of shoulder rolls once you reach the top. Meeting here at mountain at the front of your mat. Taking an inhale, arms up. Exhale, interlacing your hands behind your back, or you might grab for opposite elbows here. Whichever option you choose, take an inhale at the top. Exhale, slight bend in your knees, forward fold, bringing that bind with you as however far you can. On an inhale, releasing, finding a halfway lift, almost like a 90-degree angle. Exhale, forward fold, stepping back into a down dog. From this down dog, pressing down through the right foot, inhaling your left heel up toward the ceiling, and exhale, stepping that foot between your hands here. Our hands are framing that front foot. Exhale, lowering that right knee down to the mat. Inhale, arms frame your ears, crescent lunge. Holding this for 3, 2, 1. Interlacing your fingers, placing them behind your head, opening your chest up. Maybe pressing down through that right shin to really open up through that that right hip flexor. On your next exhale, release the bind. Arms come back around to frame that front foot. Grabbing for your blocks, your books, your pillows, blankets, whatever you might have, if that's within your practice, or you don't need to use any prop at all, just to bring the ground closer to you. So from here, tucking your right toes under, picking up that right knee. You're here in this runner's lunge, allowing that right hip to drop toward the mat, chest forward, taking an inhale. Exhale, straightening through that front leg as much as you can. There might still be a bend, it might be more straight. You might bring your toes up towards your nose here. You might move back and forth. Holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Returning the bend to that left knee. Moving those blocks out of the way. Inhale, finding a high lunge. Settling in here for just a moment. If you're noticing balance is tough, you might just widen your feet a little bit. Kind of make your tracks wider. Once you've found your position, taking an inhale, straightening through both legs. Exhale, lower. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend and lower. Last time, inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend and lower. Option to interlace your hands behind your head, open your chest, or to find goalpost arms. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. Lowering down, framing that front foot, stepping your left foot to meet your right, meeting in a plank. Shifting that weight a little bit forward, your shoulders over your wrist. Exhale, coming into a child's pose here. Toes together, knees wide. Inhale, slithering up, coming into a posture on your belly here. So here on your belly, maybe moving any of those props out of the way, bringing your heels of your hands close to your ribs, elbows are back. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, low cobra. And exhale, lowering down. And last time, inhale, low cobra. And exhale, lower down. From here, tucking your toes, picking yourself up, coming through a tabletop to then pike your hips, finding your downward facing dog. Pedaling out here for a second, maybe just noticing any differences between your sides. Grounding down now through that left foot. Inhale, right foot comes up toward the ceiling, 3-legged dog. Exhale, bringing your knee towards your nose to then plant that foot between your hands, gently lowering that knee down to the mat. Again, you can use a pillow or a blanket underneath your knee as well if that is resulting in any sort of discomfort. On an inhale, Arms frame your ears, finding your crescent lunge. And hold for 3, 2, 1. Arm variations here, interlacing your hands behind your head. Goalpost. Moving between the two, maybe pressing down through that left shin to really open up through that left hip flexor here. Remembering to breathe in deeply. And on your next exhale, coming back around, framing that right foot, getting those blocks ready, or the prop of your choice. Tucking those left toes, bringing the knee off of the mat. We're here in this runner's lunge, allowing that left hip to move down toward the mat. Taking an inhale, and on an exhale, straightening however much that front leg. Option here, as it was on the other side, you might bring your toes up towards your nose and alternate between grounding and raising this, keeping as much of a bend in that front knee as you might need. Remembering to breathe here through this big hamstring stretch. And then when you're ready, coming back into that runner's lunge, shifting those blocks a little bit out of the way. Inhale, finding a high lunge. Again, taking a moment here just to settle in, feeling the strength in this posture. Again, you might have to do that balance check if you're feeling a bit uneven, widening that stance. Taking an inhale and an exhale. Inhale, straightening through the legs, and exhale, bend and lower. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend and lower. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, bend and lower. Holding for another 3, 2, and 1. Lowering down, framing that front foot. Stepping our right foot to meet our left. Shifting that weight forward, shoulders over our wrists. And then exhale, lowering into a child's pose, knees wide, big toes touch. Taking a couple rounds of breath here, preparing to wind down. Your next inhale, coming up through your tabletop, then coming to find a seat. So finding your seat here, you can have whichever foot in front as makes sense, whatever just naturally took place. Taking an inhale at the top and exhale, walking your hands out in front of you. Your elbows might touch the ground. You might bring blocks to bring the ground closer to you here. And again, just allow your neck and your head to relax. I'm gonna hold for a few rounds of breath. Your next inhale, begin to walk your hands up, moving those blocks out of the way if you chose to use them. Bringing your feet out in front of you, soles of your feet are on the mat. You may have to scooch on your mat a little bit. Taking the slow ride down to come into a reclined position here. Once you land, taking your feet wide, your knees together. If your arms are out to a T, or you have them up overhead, or they might be resting on your body. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then from here, just begin to windshield wiper your knees from left to right. Seeing just how slow you can make this movement. The next time your knees are moving to the right, allow them to fall. Opening up through that left quad here. Breathing deeply. On an inhale, activating through that core, bringing your knees toward the ceiling. And exhale, allowing them to fall to the left. Getting that similar stretch on our opposite side. And then inhale, again activating through that core, bringing those knees up toward the ceiling. Coming back forward. Keeping your right foot planted, begin to pick up your left foot and cross it over to come into a figure four. So that left ankle is kind of on the lower part of your thigh here. So you might stay exactly right here, or you might bring this shape in towards you. So you might wrap around your right thigh or your right shin here. You may remain in stillness, or you might shift from left to right, or go between the two. Just noticing any sensations that are present, but not connecting to them or attaching to them in any way. Using your breath to move through any of that tension as well. And when you're ready, finding some stillness, allowing that right foot to come back down to the ground, taking that left foot off and moving into the figure four on the opposite side. Grounding down through that left foot, picking up the right, crossing that right ankle over, finding the figure four. Again, we might stay right here, bring the shape in toward us, finding the hand bind position that works for us. Okay, maybe shifting from left to right or finding stillness. Noticing how different our sides can be at any given moment or on any given day. Just simply noticing. When you're ready, finding stillness in the center, lowering the shape back down to the mat, uncrossing the leg. Bring your heels in close to your glutes, seeing if your fingertips are able to touch them. Preparing to move into a hip bridge. So on an inhale, pressing down through the ground, lifting those hips up, taking an exhale at the top. And we're gonna hold for 3, 2, 1, and gently lower the shape back down. Doing this one more time, pressing your feet down through the earth, and on an inhale, lifting the low back and the hips off of the ground, vertebrae by vertebrae. Exhaling at the top, holding here for 3, 2, and 1, and gently lowering the low back and the hips back down to the ground. From here, bringing your knees in towards your chest. You might even bring your forehead up towards your knees, moving from side to side or remaining still. From here, releasing your head back down to the mat, and then just bringing your soles of your feet toward the ceiling. You might have a big bend in your knees, or they might be straighter. For this, legs up the wall, kind of allowing our blood flow to move in an opposite direction. Just gonna stay here for a few rounds of breath, noticing any wobbles or shakes, these neurogenic tremors, new pathways being built here. Breathing in deeply, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then slowly, very gently bending at the knees. And then allowing your legs to reach out long, heels toward the corners of your mat, palms up, arms a few inches away from your body. Just allowing your body to settle into the mat, into the earth. Maybe allowing your eyes to close. Taking inventory of your breath and where you notice your breath right now. Allowing any remaining tension to just fall away and move away. Finding this final rest or shavasana here. Making your next inhale your largest. And on an exhale, letting something go. Beginning to make some small micro movements through your fingers or through your toes. Allowing those movements to just gradually get larger. Maybe your head moves from side to side. Make shoulder, move your shoulders up and down, making circles with your wrists or your ankles. Maybe you reach your arms long out in front of you. A big good morning stretch, reaching long through the fingers and the toes. And then slowly on your own time as you're ready, finding your way into a comfortable seat in whichever way works for you. Meeting here in an easy seat or the seat of your choosing. Taking one more breath. Inhale, arms up, palms touch overhead. Exhale, lowering down through center. Namaste, and thanks for joining. Hope you come back again soon.